Can see you now, Scott.
Yeah, it was the little tag over my camera lens on the laptop, so I figured it
Oh,
out.
really?
Thank you.
Yeah.
I don't use this computer too often. I can't hear anything.
Councillor Tinsley. Councillor Bichette. Councillor Tinsley.
I cannot hear anything.
I'm the same, Scott. I don't think they've opened it up yet, but I sent an email, so we'll see.
Oh. Pink wasn't plugged into pink.
Another shot? You got it? Okay,
Yeah,
can we hear? There we
I
go.
can hear you now.
Okay, now we can hear you as well.
Excellent.
Okay. Okay, thank you. You got it? Okay, no, we're good. Thank you. Yes. It always is. Okay. So we're good. We're good to go. Okay, introduction of late items. It's none. Approval of agenda, recommended resolution that the agenda for the regular council meeting for December 5th, 2023 be approved. Do I have a motion, please?
I'll move that.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Thank you. Discussion? CAO?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I have made an error on item 8B. It should read SRD written reports dash Councillor Burchett. 8B SRD written reports dash Councillor Burchett.
Okay, thank you. Any further discussion? Councillor Burchett?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor. With regards to 8B, there's no written report. It's just a discussion that I wanted to have. When we get there, I don't know where the written report came from.
Okay. CAO?
Thank you, Councillor Burchett. Let me revise that. It should be verbal report : SRD written reports dash Councillor Burchett.
Okay.
Again, verbal report : SRD written reports dash Councillor Burchett.
Okay, thank you. So the agenda for the regular council meeting as amended, the 2023 December 5th be approved. We'll need another motion, please.
I'll
I'll
move
move
that.
that. I'll second that.
Pardon me? As amended, I stated that. Yeah, and we got a second. Further discussion, Councillor Burchett?
Yes, I had some items to add for to the agenda.
We've already gone by that.
I did not
Introduction
hear
of late
that.
items.
I did not hear that part, so the audio must have been cut out or something, but I had a few items to add.
Okay, were these items sent to the CAO prior to this?
Some of them were, yeah, and ignored, so I'd like to add them to the agenda tonight, please.
Well, let's vote on it. Let's hear it one at a time, please.
The first item is regarding the printing policy. I've been asking for documents to be printed, and that's not happening. So what's the printing policy? All I wanted was a copy of the community charter to be printed so I could put it in my binder,
Okay,
and that hasn't happened.
Councillor Burchett, where do you want this item to be placed, under what resolution, and where on the agenda? And what's your resolution?
Well, the resolution is to define the printing policy that needs to happen so I can actually get something printed. When I
Okay.
requested something last time, that was a big issue, so let's resolve this. Motion that if council has something that needs to be printed, can we just get it printed? End of story.
Okay, council, do we have a motion on the floor to accept that as a late item? Do we have a second? Sorry, your microphone, please.
I'll second that.
Okay, discussion? All in favor? Opposed? You're opposed, motion is denied. Your next late item, please.
Yeah, I'd like to have on the agenda the committee appointments and review of our yearly committees. That was supposed to be done in November and it hasn't been done, so I think we need to get on this right away.
Okay, do you want to state a motion, please?
A motion that we go over the committee appointments and resolve what committees we're going to be on for 2024.
Thank you. We have a motion on the floor. Do we have a second? Your microphone, please.
I'll second that.
Thank you. Discussion? CAO?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I can report to council that this is coming onto the next agenda, if that helps.
Okay, so Councillor Bichette, it is being addressed at the next agenda. Do you still want to go ahead with this motion?
We can deal with it on the next agenda.
No, at the next council meeting on the next agenda, we are
Correct,
dealing with it.
correct. I'm okay with that.
Okay, thank you. So we'll just kill that. Do you have any else?
Yes, I'd like to add to the agenda the RCMP heat pump plan. I didn't see it on this agenda. I'm just wondering where that is and where we're at with that, because that seemed to be very important and time sensitive.
Okay, do you want to state things in a motion, please?
I move that we discuss and make a resolution on the RCMP heat pump plan.
Thank you. Do we have a second? Your microphone, please.
My microphone, please. I'll second that.
Thank you. All in favor or further discussion? CAO?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'm not sure what's expected of council with respect to a heat pump plan. What I can tell you, if it might save some time, is that at a previous council meeting, council approved the purchase of a heat pump and staff has ordered the heat pump and it's being installed Thursday. So I'm not sure
No.
what kind of plan we need for that.
Councillor Bichette, that answer your question?
No, it doesn't. I don't remember us deciding on what option. I thought that was moved back to the CAO to get more information and come back to council. I believe that, Mr. Mayor, you and I were in agreement that the most expensive option with the 10-year warranty was the way to go, but that was never put into resolution. So maybe some clarification on how that was decided without a council vote.
Thanks, CAO.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just for council's recollection, council approved the purchase of a heat pump up to a certain dollar value and directed staff to purchase the heat pump after further research. Staff did the research. The heat pump was purchased with a 10-year warranty and it's being installed on Thursday.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Paulson.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Through the mayor to the CAO. I believe part of that resolution was that you were going to come back and report to us at the November 21st meeting where the funds were coming from to pay for that. And so that hasn't been provided. Thank you.
CAO.
Thank you. That is correct. Thank you.
Do we have an answer on where the funds came from?
The funds are going to be, we haven't had an answer.
That's because it hasn't been paid, invoiced yet.
Well, we haven't come before. We haven't come before council and made a recommendation. I know where that what that recommendation is going to be. I'm not sure if
Okay.
you want to continue discussing this right now.
Nope, that's fine. It's going to be brought forth at the next council. Does that work for you, Councillor Bichette? It's being installed Thursday, and then Councillor Paulson, the next council meeting, he'll be bringing exactly where the money's coming from, recommendations. Councillor Paulson?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I do have a problem with spending money before we know where, which part of the budget or where the funds are coming from. I have an issue with that. And we have not had a budget variance since June. And I think it's long overdue to have
Okay.
a full report on the budget and where funds are coming from.
Okay, I believe that the funds, or we agreed as a council to the maximum money of just under 17,000. And that we would go ahead with it. CAO?
Mr. Mayor, we're in the process of approval of the agenda. If we want to have a more fulsome discussion on this topic, perhaps it should be added to the
Yeah,
agenda.
let's get it out of discussion and move on. Councillor Tinsley in discussion. And then I'm
I
going
would
to call
just
the
like to
question.
vote on this being added or not, because this is,
Okay.
we're at adding items. So if we could
Let's
vote on
vote.
that or
All,
not.
okay, let's vote. All in favor of adding this to the agenda? Opposed? Okay. Defeated. Do you have anything else, Councillor Burchett, or can we move on?
I just think that the level of communication with regards to how this transpired is not very transparent, and I'll just
Okay.
leave it at that.
Okay, we're moving on. Approval.
I
yes,
still have
Councillor
another
Paulson.
item.
I'm sorry?
I still have another item to add. Thank you.
Okay, just a sec. Councillor Paulson?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I would like you to please respond to the gallery to be appropriate at this meeting. And rolling of eyes and lifting sunglasses and glaring at me is inappropriate. And if that continues, the people should be removed.
Okay, excuse me. The audience, during the meeting, you need to be silent, please. Okay, you had your question period, and then we'll have another question period at the end. Please do not jump in or interrupt throughout the meeting. Thank you. Minutes of previous, that the minutes of the regular council meeting held on October 3rd, 2023.
I was not done
sorry.
adding items.
I
you.
apologize. Your last item, please.
Assuming it's my last item.
You said it was.
Under 13B, under the CAO report, I would like a salt, sand, and plow plan, verbal report from the CAO that he said he was going to do last meeting and never happened.
Okay, do you want to make these in terms of a resolution, please? Opposed
A
to
resolution that under 13B, that the CAO add a salt, sand, and plow plan in a verbal report, so we know what's going on.
Thank you. CAO, you're good? Okay. Any further discussion? We have a second on that, pardon me? Do we have a second on his motion? Your microphone, please.
I'll second that.
Thank you. Discussion. CAO.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Councillor Burchett asked for this to be discussed tonight, and I responded to him indicating that I would include it in a verbal report tonight, and that's what I plan on doing. So it is being addressed, and it
Okay,
would, I indicated it would be.
okay. Is that satisfactory to you, Councillor Burchett?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. So there is no motion. Okay, now we're moving on. As I said, the minutes from the regular council meeting held on October 3rd, 2023 be adopted.
Mr. Mayor, can we adopt the agenda as approved, please?
I thought we did that, sorry.
I think you were just moving through late items.
Oh,
and
we went back to
we
that.
went backwards.
Sorry.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Thank you. That the agenda for the regular council meeting for December 5th, 2023, as amended, be adopted. Motion, please.
I'll move that.
Second.
I will second.
Oh, you get to pick because you're writing all the names out. Discussion? All in favor? Opposed? See, you're opposed? No? Okay. The motion is carried. That the minutes of the regular council meeting held on October 24th, 2023 be adopted. Do you have a motion, please?
I'll move
I'll move
that.
that.
Second?
I'll second that.
Thank you. Discussion? Councillor Paulson?
Did you say November 24th?
I might have. October 24th. Sorry, I apologize. October 24th.
What about
I think you said
October 3rd?
October 3rd.
I started with October 3rd. Now I'm going to the 24th.
Oh, okay.
Councillor Paulson?
Yes, I have been through
Oh, did we get a first and a second on that? I didn't know. So you have to hold off just a sec. Okay,
I'm sorry.
it's okay. So again, that the minutes of the regular council meeting held on October 24th, 2023 be adopted. We had a first. Do we have a first and a second?
I'll move that.
Thank you. Second?
I'll second that.
Thank you. Discussion. Go ahead, Councillor Paulson, then CAO. Or do you need to go first?
Can I ask, how come we're not addressing the minutes of the 23rd? Or of the 3rd, pardon me?
We already did.
Yeah, we didn't.
Yeah, we did.
I don't think we did.
Oh, I could have swore we did.
No.
I said October 3rd. No? What are you doing?
You have to go back to the agenda.
Oh, well, there you go. What are you doing?
Oh.
Okay, let's finish the 24th and then we'll go back to the 3rd. We're on the 24th, so let's finish it. Discussion. Go ahead, Councillor Paulson.
Thank you. I have been through the October 24th minutes, and there are many errors, wrong numbers, and the motions are numbered incorrectly. And it goes back to, well, it's October 24th where the numbers started being incorrect, but I don't know how you want to handle the errors and omissions from the meeting
Great.
on the 24th.
One of the suggestions I would have, we just take the October 24th meeting minutes and defer that to the next meeting. And then this way you can hand your notes over to the CAO and he can review them on the mistakes. Okay,
Thank you.
so my recommendation to council is that we defer the minutes of October 24, 2023 to the next council meeting. Do I have a motion on that, please?
I'll move that.
Thank you. Second,
I'll second that.
further discussion? All in favor? Opposed, seeing none, motion is carried. And the minutes from the regular council meeting held October 3rd, 2023 be adopted.
I'll move that.
I'll second that.
Discussion? Councillor Paulson?
I did hand in a big list of errors and omissions from October 3rd, but they still can't be approved as they're written because they still contain errors. And so I would recommend that we defer the October 3rd minutes to the next council meeting, which is
The 19th.
December 19th.
Okay, do we have a motion on that, please? Oh,
I'll move that.
wait, do you want to speak first, CAO? No? We have a motion on that. Thank you. Second? Discussion. CAO.
Thank you. Yeah, Councillor Paulson did submit to me the minutes with a number of noted corrections. I worked through that. So I agree with the suggestion to defer it, but I just want to explain to Councillor Paulson, I didn't ignore anything. All of the corrections that she pointed out, I did work through. If I didn't correct any, it was because through the video and through notes, I determined that what I had was correct, but I'm happy to work through it again
Okay,
for the sake of assurance that they're 100% correct.
thank you. Are we going to have the same issue with November 7th?
I only found one error in November the 7th, so
Easy fix? Okay. And what is the error?
the error is that the numbering of the motions is incorrect because you have to go back to at least October 24th to make the corrections, so that the motions and their resolution information is correct.
Okay,
And
so that's an easy fix right now, CAO.
yes.
Your microphone, please. Thank you.
Based on what I just heard Councillor Polson say, I think she's noting that it's related to the numbering sequence. So I would suggest deferring it again because we're deferring the other two.
Right.
It may affect the numbering sequence. I don't know, but it may. So why
Okay.
don't we err on the side of caution?
Agreed. So we're going to defer. I need a motion to defer November 7th minutes, please.
I'll move that.
I'll
Thank you.
second that.
Thank you. Discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Sorry, Councillor Bichette, were you opposed or in favor?
I am in favor.
Okay, thank you. It is adopted. Petition and delegations, none. Correspondence. We have A to H to be received. Do I have a motion, please?
I'll move that.
Second,
I'll second that.
discussion? Councillor Tinsley,
Just one, we're going to have an opportunity to pull ones we're interested in, right?
pull them now.
Okay, then. A.
Okay, anybody else? Councillor Paulson,
Thank you. I'd like to pull letter C.
anybody else? Okay, so the motion now is that the correspondence B, D, E, F, G, and H be received. Do I have a motion, please?
I'll move that.
Thank you. Councillor Paulson, your microphone, please.
I'll second that.
Thank you. Discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Seeing none, carried. Okay, letter A for correspondence. Go ahead, Councillor Tinsley.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I wanted to pull this because I think it's an interesting concept that Mr. Turner has written about. I believe that as a very small community in British Columbia, let's just focus on that, or even Canada, we as a community need to look at everything to do with the operation of the community, from the number of people willing to run for council to the risk of ransomware attacks on our systems, which have occurred on villages or small towns not much larger than us, and also to do with various other legal obligations that communities are coming into now. In short, the world is changing. So I'm suggesting that this area of education, I'm going to call it, should be discussed for the community as an interest. I'm not sure if this format is the format for it, but I believe that it should be put forward as an item of discussion at some point in 2024 relative to education of everyone involved, for the reasons I cite relative to the size of our community and the various stresses on government organizations at this time.
Would you like to make a motion?
My reason for pulling it. So I'd like to make a motion that this topic, which would include this letter, be a point of discussion in at the latest by the end of the first half of 2024. That would be my motion.
Okay. We have a motion on the floor. Do we have a second?
We're not still on discussion?
No, we're introducing A. Councillor Tinsley, you made a motion, is that correct? Do we have
I
a
made a
second?
motion, and I believe we're at the point of asking for a second.
Your microphone, please.
I'll second that.
Okay, further discussion? Councillor Paulson?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I've read through the proposal and have some questions and thoughts about it. And I know that this won't be a cheap or easy fix for the village. And I hope that we can look at other alternatives besides discussing or possible disincorporation. We can look at extending the size of the village, and we can look at having government intervention. This will cost a lot of money to make a transition like we discussed about 4 years ago when it was being put forward as an option. And I think we should get an independent group rather than having people that have vested interests like the SRD and representatives from the SRD retired. And I think we need to have a panel of experts that can be objective and provide the panel, the program, and look at it in an objective way.
Okay.
We also have to consider our budgetary restraints, and with our budget coming up in 2024, whether doing something like this is feasible, and with all the outstanding reports and processes that we have going on, I think we need to attend to some of those most important things now, rather than focus on making wholesale change. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Anyone else? CAO.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So what I see is a request from a member of the public for council to engage in a conversation on the topic of dissolution or not. I hear Councillor Tinsley indicating that he thinks it would be, he's made a motion to suggest that the topic be part of a discussion in the first half of 2024. I'm just not seeing a connection between the two, and I'm wondering, it's not clearly stated within the correspondence, is if and I know Mr. Turner isn't able to engage at this part of the agenda, but I had made an assumption that perhaps, for instance, Mr. Turner would be the organizer of this, and perhaps he was just wanting to know if council would be a participant in the conversation.
Council's not invited to this. It's the only person from the municipality that would be invited is the CAO.
I read it as a letter to mayor and council, and expressing an interest in engaging council and perhaps the public in the conversation. From what I'm hearing in council tonight, I'm hearing that Councillor Tinsley believes it's a topic that could be or should be discussed in the first half of 2024. I guess from a staff perspective, there needs to be an organizer. And the organizer is either going to be staff or somebody else. I haven't heard this topic identified as a strategic priority for council. I guess I'm just wondering, do you want to, as council, support the suggestion by the author of the letter in some way? Do you want to give a discount on use of Kelsey Center, support it that way? Do you want to ask the direct staff to report back to the author with some feedback indicating that council expressed an interest in participating, and leave it at that? I guess I'm just looking for some more concrete direction than the topic be part of a discussion in the first half of 2024.
Okay, well, during question period, the last question period, Mr. Turner can respond to that. I don't believe mayor and council is invited to this, so I agree with you that it would be something that, I mean, it's not on the strategic planning. I agree that it's not something that the staff should be organizing, and perhaps Mr. Turner will have that opportunity to organize it. Okay, so we're still on discussion. Mr. Tinsley, Councillor Tinsley, I
Oh,
apologize.
thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just want to clarify, what I'm approaching this as is, this is an interesting letter with an idea. And there have been various discussions, interesting ideas and things like that. But all I'm suggesting is that it is a topic, and that's where my motion is, for discussion at some point in the near future, I believe. I believe this letter is part of a need to look at that. And this is not about how much it costs or doesn't cost, or it's about the potential to have and gather information around the education for everyone, all the public, all the counselors, all the staff, around the various positives and negatives of different avenues that villages can go. That is all it's about, is having
Okay.
that discussion. It's not about weeding through it right now.
Good. Okay, thank you. So that was the discussion part. All in favor of Councillors, CAO?
I'm sorry, Mr. Mayor, thank you. I would encourage, I'm looking for a little bit of clarification on what the motion is, or when Councillor Tinsley, or how when Councillor Tinsley would like to have this discussion, and how. Would you like it brought back to council?
Yes,
Okay, so
In up to 6 months.
okay,
Yeah.
and could I suggest perhaps maybe a discussion in a committee of the whole meeting?
Sounds good.
sure.
Okay,
So I'll amend that motion to a discussion at a committee of whole meeting at the latest by the end of halfway through 2024.
okay, thank you. So do we have a second on the amendment?
I'll second that.
Further discussion? All in favor? Opposed? 2 opposed. The motion is carried. Okay. C, Councillor Paulson. Your microphone, please.
So that is the UBCM approval letter for the community to community program application. And I would just like to point out that on page 11, number 6 and number 7 contain incorrect dates. The dates for completion should be October 27th, 2024, and the same with the other report. I just don't want that to cause problems with the
Okay,
reporting down the
excellent.
road.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so we need a motion to receive A and C, please.
I'll move that.
Second, Councillor Paulson. Thank you.
I'll second that.
Further discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Seeing none? Carried. Okay. Council verbal report of the Strathcona Garden expansion. Councillor Burchett.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I would just like to state that we receive very little information and no written reports with anything with regards to the SRD, and with regards to this topic has not been brought before council, and just like to get more information and have a discussion about it. So I'm essentially asking you for information. Thank you.
What information are you looking for? I thought I already stated this at the last meeting.
Stated what?
We talked about the gardens at the last meeting. So what information are you looking for?
Any information with regards to the SRD We don't get any reports. We don't get written reports. With regards to the Strathcona Garden expansion, hasn't been discussed with council.
No, because there is nothing to discuss with council at this point. But coming up to the December 19th, there should be some point of discussion after the December 13th SRD meeting. So I will fill you in at that stage.
Will this be a written report?
I don't know. We'll have to see. It could be written, it could be verbal. There's nothing in the procedural bylaw that prevents a verbal report.
Then I want to put a motion on the table that you provide us with a written report after your next meeting for the December 19th
I don't
regular
believe
council
that's-
meeting.
I don't believe that's up to you, but go ahead.
Excuse me?
I stated what I stated. So if you'd like to make a motion, go ahead, make the motion and we'll go
I
through it.
just did. I just made the motion
Oh, I'm sorry. Could you clarify the motion, please?
that council receive a written report after your next SRD meeting to fill us in on what's going on in respect to the Strathcona Garden expansion.
Okay, do we have a second? Your microphone, please.
I'll second that.
Discussion? Councillor Paulson?
I think this could be easily cleared up by you repeating what you were talking to the people in the gallery about when I came into the meeting before the
Right.
meeting started. And it was information that I wasn't aware of, and yet it was provided to the gallery prior to the meeting. So
Well,
I would appreciate
actually, a
that.
lot of the information that now that we are live, until it goes to a vote in January, is when it going into a vote at the SRD. I believe that's in January. That's happening. So there is, to be clear again, which I've several times have repeated this, and I'll repeat it one last time, is Director Wally at one of the meetings suggested, Area Director France from Area D, France. I apologize, you're not there yet. The Area Director, John Rice, suggested that all area directors chip in for the Strathcona Gardens. Gerald Wally, Area Director A, was not very happy with that, and he felt the village should be in play with that as well. And what the discussion was just for a study. And the study has not come out yet. All it was for a study to be done. So he threw the Sayward Village into that and suggested that we're included in that. And I said, fine. It's only a study, not a problem. The whole intent is I do not support, and I haven't been able to, there's nothing to bring back yet, but I've made it clear at our meetings at the SRD that I do not support Strathcona Gardens being supported by Sayward Village under any circumstances. Gerald Wally does not support that as well. Gerald Wally at the last meeting, if anybody watched the SRD meeting, will see that he agrees that monies should go to the Kelsey Center before Strathcona Gardens. Now, I hope that clears it up again. We'll go to the CAO.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So for all of council's benefit, there's a motion on the floor, and Councillor Burchett, just allow me or correct me if I've misworded this, that Mayor Baker provide a written report regarding Strathcona Gardens following the December 19th SRD board meeting?
December 13th.
13th. So there is a motion on the floor. If Councillor Burchett agrees to that wording, do you want me to repeat that, Councillor Burchett?
No, that's fine. As long as we get some information, because what the mayor just said is the first time I've heard this information. So the
You're
more
not paying
information you
attention.
have, the better we can serve the public.
Okay, so all I'm saying is, so if you agree with that motion, Councillor Burchett has, if you agree with the way that I wrote that motion, Councillor Burchett has made that motion. We need a seconder.
Correct. Oh, somebody's microphone's on for a sec. Thank you.
I'll second that.
Thank you. Can you turn off your mic, please?
Mhm.
Thank you. Further discussion?
Uh,
Councillor Tinsley?
Thank you. My understanding of the motion was just whether the motion was whether we have a written report or a verbal report. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, it seemed to be the motion was he wanted a written report and a verbal wasn't good enough. The mayor's already committed to a verbal report, so I believe that's the motion, but correct me if I'm wrong.
No, that is the motion. Correct me if I'm wrong. We're in discussion. There is nothing in the procedural bylaw that states I have to give a written report. If you look at the procedural bylaw, you will see that. That's my contribution. Do you have anything to add, Councillor Gilkin?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. No, I believe that Mr. Mayor has committed to a verbal report, and I believe that he will go into depth and he will share information. So I believe that is good
Okay.
enough. for
Thank
me.
you. So that was on discussion. Councillor Paulson?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. And with respect, I would like to let you know that it was also new information for me tonight, and your comment about somebody not listening was unfortunately inappropriate. And you may have talked to some people about it, but I heard this first tonight. So I
Okay.
just want that documented.
Thank you. If you could document that, please, CAO. Okay, CAO, oh, sorry, I saw your hand go up. Don't worry about it. Okay, all in favor of Councillor Bichette's motion? One, all opposed? The motion is defeated. Okay, the second motion was a resolution that a verbal SRD written reports. That one, are we doing two on there? Councillor Bichette,
Yes.
okay, so that was just a double up, we're moving on then. Okay, number 9, reports of committees. Oh, sorry, CAO.
Pardon me. Councillor Bichette submitted to me a list of things that he wanted to have included on the agenda. One of the things that he wanted to have included on the agenda is the topic of SRD written reports. And I responded to him in an email indicating I would add this. He didn't include any information, any resolutions, any context, no written report. So this is the time on the agenda that I allotted for Councillor Bichette to speak to his topic that he requested, SRD written reports. This is different than the previous report, which was Strathcona Garden expansion. There's some similarities in the discussion, but it's a separate topic.
Okay, Councillor Bichette.
Yeah, I'll reiterate that we're receiving little or none information from the SRD and from the chair you sit on there. So it would be beneficial to the village of Sayward and the constituents that you provide us with information that we can discuss and report back to the constituents to keep us informed for the betterment of the village of Sayward.
Okay, thank you. Now moving on. Recommended resolution. Councillor Wilson.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I think the previous documentation that I asked to be added is a clear indication of where verbal reports and written reports become confused and information gets lost if it's a verbal report and it's a he said, she said, or he said.
You could be the she.
Help.
I'll be the.
Okay, so I think it would be important for council to consider that we do receive written reports from committees and so that all of the information is shared and everybody gets the same information at the same time and it's documented.
Okay, thank you. Are you
Thank you.
referring just to SRD reports or reports from every councillor?
I'm referring to reports from every committee that councillors sit on, and that happened previously, but it hasn't been happening in the last year or so. So 2 years. So and I'm just as guilty as the other committee members for that, but I would like to have that noted that it is important to get written documentation, and everybody here gets the same message. It's just the same as watching the tape.
Okay, I agree. Thank you. We'll go to CAO, then Councillor Tinsley.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. It dawns on me that perhaps there's a training opportunity here for all of council, because it's not just the mayor, it's not just Councillor Polson. I recently received a request for, I think, 10 to 11 items to be added to the agenda, but there was no context, there was no resolutions, there was no background, there was no discussion. It was just 3 to 5 word sentences. Please add this to the agenda, and 10 to 11 times. I think council will probably be here all night just to start the whole process of, okay, expanding on the 5 words. What's the purpose of the 5 words? What's the purpose of the suggested report? So I'll ask you, instead of assuming, is there a need or a desire on the part of council to perhaps have some training when it comes to written report? I acknowledge that there's 2 members of council that are newer. And so if there's a training opportunity here, we can flesh that out and bring something back to council to set everybody up for success, rather than having this back and forth of who's responsible for a written report and who gives verbal. And from administration perspective, I think all of you would acknowledge we've had a lot of back and forth on email, and it takes up a lot of time, staff's time, and email isn't necessarily transparent to the public. So they don't see what's happening in the background with the emails going back and forth. So I'll ask the question, would you like me to flesh out to look into the opportunity, perhaps a committee of the whole meeting or something to flesh out appropriate council reporting?
I think that would be appropriate. Not to steal the word you just used, but yes.
I also think it would be appropriate.
Councillor Tinsley?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I would like to focus on what this item is, which is specifically about SRD written reports. The issue of written reports or verbal reports is a whole other topic. Generally, I would suggest that the councillor bringing that forward, present that in the appropriate manner to be on a future meeting for discussion, and whether that discussion at that point in time comes to education ideas that have been shared here. But right now, I'd just like to focus on what has been brought forward is SRD written reports. And all I want to say about that is currently the mayor of this village is the chair of the SRD board. If the mayor of this village was not the chair there, we would not be getting written reports, and we have in my opinion, no extra right to any extra written information from the chair of the SRD than any other part of the SRD does. So I firmly suggest that the topic specific to what is on the agenda here, SRD written reports, I find it's not necessary for the reasons I've cited, and I would vote against that. And I ask that the motion be voted on. Thank you, so we can move forward on the agenda. Thank you.
Okay, I just want to quickly add something. Regardless if I was the chair or the director on the SRD and not the chair, there would still be times when it affects Saybert directly that I should be giving a verbal or written report. No different than any other councillor who's on Saybert Futures, library board, or whatever other board. We should be giving, all of us should be giving a report, period. And unless we're going to change the procedural bylaw, then the reports are either going to be written or they're going to be verbal, unless the procedural bylaws changed. And that would be applicable to each and every council person. Okay, so call the vote. There is no motion. Well, we guess we don't have to call the vote, do we? Okay, so the recommended resolution is none. So we'll go on to number 9. Reports of committees, none. Mayor's report. The request for support from the Ministry of Municipal Affairs that the Village of Sayward Council unanimously supports the request for governance assistance from the Minister of Municipal Affairs. I need someone to make a motion on that, please.
I'll move that. I'll second that.
Second, pardon me.
I'll second that.
Excuse me, I thought you asked for someone to make a motion.
I did. Somebody went first. Somebody said I'll make that motion. Yeah.
Okay.
And then the second, discussion. Anyone? Councillor Paulson.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I read this request and realize that it is an important issue, and getting support from the Ministry of Municipal Affairs is very sorely needed here. Although I've made a few notes on the mayor's report, and I hoped that there would be more elaboration on what the governance assistance would look like. There's no background here. There's no plan outline, there's no stated goals. So I would request that we have a report brought back with containing information for what the schedule would be, what the timeline would be, what are the parameters of this support, and it brings me around to some other topic that Mr. Tinsley will probably call a point of order, but there's lots of things that we need to review and go over, and one of the
A lot of that is in
Point of
camera.
order, I'll call it.
Yeah.
There we go.
Thank
We need to
you.
stay on,
Yeah,
we need to
thank
stay on
you.
topic. That is my
So-
point of order. We need to stay on
Stay on
topic.
topic.
So we will further discuss it in camera.
Let's
Thank you
make a
very much,
motion to move
Mr.
that.
Tinsley.
Did not disappoint.
No.
Mr. Let's see, let's have a motion to move that into in camera, please.
Oh, I'll move that.
Thank you. Second,
I'll second that.
discussion, all in favor? CAO,
Please help me understand, Mr. Mayor, what are we moving in camera? There's a motion.
A. We're moving A into in camera so we can get into more of the details on it.
Mr. Mayor, respectfully, I'm struggling right now just to understand how we could move this in camera. The suggestion from the mayor's report, the purpose of this report is to request council's unanimous support for governance assistance from the Ministry of Municipal Affairs. The recommendation is that the Village of Sayward Council unanimously support a request for governance assistance from the Ministry of Municipal Affairs. I'm sorry, I just don't see how that could be moved in camera.
Well, if we get into the details on why, and the things that would be discussed and brought forth, and some of those issues are in camera. But I understand what you're saying. So let me just briefly state, the whole idea is governance training, and for them to help us be able to move on as a council, opposed to the last 8 to 10 months of the way this council has been. So that's the whole idea behind this, is they come in and they will do, I don't know with schedule. First, we have to get this passed, and then they would contact staff and or myself, and we would find out what schedule they were looking at, what they're looking at doing. But at this point, they don't give that information unless we have unanimous support from each council member to get governance training and hopefully be able to move forward with the work that we're supposed to be doing and not all the other stuff. Okay, CAO, then Councillor Burchett.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. A couple of things to add. I mean, I think I don't have everything in front of me here, but I think this is something that each individual councillor has asked for at some point in time over the last several months. Each individual councillor has expressed a desire for us to receive some help with governance. I think each individual councillor has appealed to their elected colleagues, like, we need to get some help, folks. We need to get some help. And I would remind council that when the mayor and I returned from UBCM, we reported on our meetings that we had with the Ministry of Municipal Affairs. At that point, the mayor requested council write a letter to the Ministry of Municipal Affairs, requesting council support for the village to write a letter to the Ministry of Municipal Affairs, and council supported that request. So I think this is, from my perspective, this is a continuation of what council has asked for and what council has supported previously, just so everybody's not feeling surprised or strongly stated, like misled or anything. I think this is a genuine step towards some help.
Councillor Burchett.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Who with the Ministry of Municipal Affairs did you discuss this with?
I'm sorry, do you want to say that again?
Who with the Ministry of Municipal Affairs did you discuss this with?
This discussion about governance and the suggestion to go ahead with this was done by actually the MLA, Michelle Babchuk, who talked to Municipal Affairs on my behalf and suggested that we get this with unanimous support, that we can move forward from there.
Thank you.
Okay. So it's not going to go into in camera. So let's bring this to a vote. That the Village of Sayward Council unanimously support the request for governance assistance from the Minister of Municipal Affairs. Do I have a motion, please?
I'll move that.
We got a motion. Somebody want to second it?
I'll second it.
There you go. Thank you. Further discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Okay, it's opposed. Quiet in the gallery. If you're not going to be quiet in the gallery, you're going to have to be removed, okay? It's important that we're be able to do our business. Thank you. Okay.
Are we having discussion now?
No, we already had the discussion. It's over. We're moving on to a verbal on the truck parade. December 15, 2023 truck parade that the Village of Sayward Council allocates $1,000 to the 2023 truck parade and the source from the Growing Communities funds, and that the 2023-2027 financial plan be amended accordingly. Do I have a motion, please?
We'll move that.
Thank you. Second?
I'll second that.
Discussion. Councillor Paulson.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. As the request is for a donation to the truck parade.
No, sorry, this is not clear. The $1,000 is not a donation to the truck parade. It's for decorations. I apologize. This is not clear in that. All it is strictly for decorations. No money is going to the truck parade.
So further to that, last year we we allocated $500 to decorations for the lights around the gazebo, and that was passed. So I question why it's up to $1,000 this year for the decorations. I hope that will be amended in the minutes that that's what that was for. And as for the funds to be sourced from the growing community funds, that is very incorrect appropriation, because that money cannot be used for these kinds of purchases. They are for infrastructure and capital only. And I believe if you check the grant and what it can be used for, you will find that it cannot come from the grant, the Growing Communities Fund. So I would recommend that this year the grant for, or the allocation of money only be approved once it can be found in the budget. And I suggest that our budget is very restricted this year, and it's frivolous of us to spend $500 on Christmas decorations when we are over budget in so many areas, as far as I can ascertain.
In my opinion, to do a good, feel-good thing for under around that $1,000 for the community, it is a community event that is very well attended by Village and Valley. This is for decorations. The thought is $500 goes towards the rope lighting, because I want to do the trees there. And the other $500 goes for purchasing decorations after Christmas when they're 50 to 75% off. As I said, this is a huge event for our community. We have very few events. And for us to spend $1,000 to make, a few hundred people happy and look good in our village, I don't think that's really a misappropriation of funds. So in my opinion, Councillor Tinsley.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I support what the mayor said. This is a very successful event. I believe this is the third year. We have a living tree planted there. It's part of a tradition now. This amount of dollars, whether it comes from Growing Community Fund or other parts of our financial plan, is a very small amount. And I believe it's definitely in the interest of the community to go with this recommended resolution as written. Thank you.
Okay, any further discussion? Councillor Paulson?
Yes, I'm surprised by the comments when Mr. Tinsley has stated many times prior, when we've been looking at allocating money, that our budget is very tight, and he is opposed to spending any extra money on things. And I can't recall exactly what they were right now, but there was opposition. And I think it would be difficult to tell the people of Sayward, who are hungry and not able to celebrate Christmas in the way that they would like to, and their children are doing without, that we are, as a village, are spending $500 for rope lighting for a 8-foot Christmas tree. No. I think it is something that we need to consider long and hard, that this year we forego the purchase of decorations, use the ones that we have, and maybe look at it next year when we're in a better financial situation.
Okay, thank you. Let's call the vote. All in favor? Oh,
Excuse
sorry,
me.
Councillor Burchett.
Thank you,
I
Mr.
didn't
Mayor.
see your hand.
That's okay, thank you. I agree with Councillor Paulson that this is an expense that the village doesn't need at this point in time. We're over budget. And when we've asked for reasons why we're over budget, certain line items were not given
Stay
to
on
us clear
point, please.
information. I am on point. This is about where the money's coming from. And if you can't, if the CAO can't explain where the money's coming from that's over budget, then I don't think that we should pursue spending more money. And quite frankly, I don't think that $1,000 should leave Sayward to buy products made in China. Maybe if you included $1,000 for local artists to support our community, that you might have a better result.
Okay, thank you.
And that
Let's
would
call
be
the vote.
beneficial to the community. Thanks for cutting me off.
You're welcome. CAO.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just for a couple points of clarification, I can assure council we are not over budget. I can 100% unequivocally clarify we are not over budget. I'm not in a position to provide council I'm sorry, I've lost the term is on the tip of my tongue. Variance, thank you, variance, budget variance at this time. But I have been reviewing the budget over every week over the last several weeks, and we are not over budget. So I just want to clarify that. Second point is I appreciate Councillor Polson's suggestion that the Growing Communities Fund has some tight restrictions. I attended the webinar on the Growing Communities Fund when it was first announced, and in fact, it was pitched as being very loose in its restrictions. One of the comments there was that it was largely being laid out to allow the communities to have the discretion for how they wanted to spend the funds according to how the local governments thought it was needed. So I'm not feeling that I can state strongly enough that Christmas decorations are permitted, but I think for an expense of $1,000, if council is going to resolve to support the purchase, perhaps you leave it to staff to bring back with a budget to allocate it to at a later time.
Yeah, considering that the event itself is on the 15th. Now, also to Councillor Brachette's comment about purchasing stuff that's made in China, everything that we purchase, regardless on where it's made, we do from local. So for example, we go to Sayward Resort and we say, please go buy us this. We've done that for the last 3 years. We've kept everything local. All the prizes are local. So it is a huge local event. So just to let you know. So let's call the vote.
I'm sorry, Mr. Mayor, is there perhaps an amended resolution that the Village of Sayward Council allocate $1,000 for decorations
Yes.
for the 2023 truck parade, and that staff report back with a source of funds at a later date?
Okay, do we have a motion on that, please?
I'll move
Oh,
that.
Councillor Brachette first.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd like to amend that to include at least $500 of that expenditure to be made on local artisan products to support the Sayward's local economy.
Okay, but that would be a friendly amendment after this motion is passed. Then you can make your amendment. Okay, so all in favor? Opposed? 2 opposed, motion is carried. You have an amendment or you have a friendly to add?
Yes, the amendment would be that 50% of this expenditure is with local artisans.
Okay, do we have a second? Councillor Polson? Discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Okay, motion is defeated. Okay, folks, it is 8:13, 8:23. We will resume back. So everybody take a 10-minute break, please. It's a little warm in here anyways. Water is over there for anybody who gets thirsty. Okay, so actually make that 8:24.
Did you get it on?
To be some risk in that. To me, that's why that your work and knowledge and stuff, but it was like, they're not saying this stuff. So one of the guys.
I don't know how she can get into the organization.
Affairs come here and
It's like years or 2 years now.
you know.
And it's actually going to be large. Is it for you? You know, it's like, oh, the same one. I don't spend a lot.
Why would she go against that?
There's like, get rid of these. No, because I was thinking myself. I did.
I mean, that's all. You know, what would be something. So that would come back at first, and then the Thursday would come up with an agenda. Was to be done. Whether or not it can actually. And indication just happening in the village to municipal terrorists. But they feel it is something that can handle.
I made the documents out.
There's certain situations that they don't have.
How they want to. Well, you like to, you did it when I could.
Personnel.
The oldest one's still has a trip. There was a bad one. I didn't talk. Very good one. I made a lot of baby. Okay. I made.
So it really does to serious activity.
Every year.
Yeah.
And
But is it not cooperating? No, I should take that there. So.
Okay.
That's the goal.
we all, my.
Or you answer like it.
Hey, 1 minute, folks, 1 minute. Do, 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 do. Okay, folks, we're going to get started, please. So we can get the audience to be quiet, please. Okay, we'll get everybody in the audience to be quiet, please. Thank you. Okay, we're on number 11, unfinished business. None. Staff reports, fire protection service agreement. The council received and discussed the fire protection service agreement staff report, and that council directs staff to further investigate the concept of a sub-regional service model for fire protection through the SRD for the village of Sayward and the Valley, Area A, and that the report be prepared for council's consideration on December 19th, 2023. Do I have a motion, please?
I'll move that.
Do we have a second?
I'll second that.
Thank you. Discussion. All in favor? Opposed? Sorry, you're in favor? Okay, opposed? Seeing none, motion is carried. Okay, community to community forum with the Wee Wee Kai First Nation, the Wee Wee Cum First Nation. That the council receive the community to community forum with Wee Wee Kai First Nation and Wee Wee Cum First Nation report for discussion, and that council inform staff which are proposed forum dates will attend, and that council directs staff to schedule the forum events with the Wee Wee Kai Nation and the Wee Wee Cum Nation. Do I have a motion, please?
I'll move that.
Thank you.
I'll second that.
Discussion? All in favor? Oh, sorry, Councillor Paulson. Your microphone, please. Councillor Gilkin, thank you.
Didn't even.
I say that a few times in the evening.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I have thought about this community to community forum and the amount of time that it takes. And I wonder whether it is reasonable to go forward with this at this time based on the workload of the staff and getting this prepared and up and running. So I want to know how other councillors feel about it, whether at this time it is, although we've been waiting for this a long time, is this an absolute urgent plan that we should invest a lot of time in organizing and attending and being a part of.
One of the things, it's for them to come back with dates, so that it's not in the immediate future. It could be months from now. So we'll go to the CAO.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So just to update council, all of the work has been done. Myself and the staff, my counterparts at Wee Wee Kai and Wee Wee Cum have developed the entire program, and I don't want to take too much of the credit there. I mean, really, we are being invited by these communities to attend the 3 events, and the dates are all laid out in the staff report there to choose from. So event number 1, the ethno-history presentation, there's a choice of January 30th or 31st. event number 2, March 19th or 20th, and event number 3, April 30th or May 1st or 2nd. And as you can detect by how far out these dates are, both chiefs and councils of the respective First Nations are incredibly busy, and I couldn't impress upon you enough that we need to choose these dates tonight.
Okay, thank you. So we have a motion on the floor. All in favor? No, we're going to go to the motion. We're going to go to dates. Go ahead, CAO.
Thank you. I thought you were moving the motion without selecting the date.
No, we're going to be selecting the dates and that'll be a motion. Okay, so on the three tops that we have here, all in favor? Are you in favor or did you want to say something? Your microphone, please.
Excuse me, I just wanted to have some discussion about the dates.
Okay,
In case anybody else hasn't noticed, the March 19th date is a regular council meeting, and I would suggest that if we're going for the dates, that we keep it consistent and go for all Wednesdays.
well, the March 20th is the day after the council meeting.
That's what I
Correct,
mean. So
yeah.
we shouldn't select March the 19th because it's a
Correct.
council meeting.
Right.
And also there's no times that I could see on here for the length of time that the meetings would be.
CAO,
Thank you. It's a good point, and I'm sorry I didn't elaborate on that. I am getting feedback from the organizers at that end, whether it's going to be, I asked the question whether it's going to be evening or afternoon, and I'm still waiting for that feedback. So, and I know that notwithstanding everybody's busy schedule, I know that Councillor Tinsley is typically busy during the daytime. I have noted that, and that's why I asked if it could be evening. I just haven't heard back yet.
okay, thank you. Okay, so on the three that's, we'll do that first before we go to the dates. Do we have a motion, please? We had the motion, we had the second, we had the discussion, so let's go all in favor. Opposed?
Sorry, Mr. Mayor, I don't think we've selected dates yet.
No, that's going to be done in a separate motion. Okay, so. Well, yes, sorry, I apologize. Number 2, that the council inform stats on the purpose forum dates that will attend. So let's have a quick discussion on the dates.
So just for everybody's
Let's see what.
convenience, the dates are on page 84.
Yeah, I'm just saying what dates is January 30th.
January 30th is a Tuesday,
January 31st is a Wednesday.
correct?
January 20th is a Wednesday.
There is no January 20th.
I mean, March 20th. pardon me,
March 19th is a Tuesday and 20th is a Wednesday. The April, May, and May dates are Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday.
Okay, so to Councillor Paulson's point, if we pick the 31st, 20th, and the 1st, then we're sticking on the Wednesdays. Correct? Is everybody in favor of that? Yeah, okay. So
So just
we'll go back.
What are
and
the
I'll
dates
reread it.
again that you're selecting? Just
That council informs staff on the proposed forum events dates,
30.
which will attend, and the dates are January 31st, March 20th, and May 1st.
March 20th is a Wednesday.
That's correct. All 3 dates are a Wednesday.
Okay, thank you. So January 31st is a Wednesday.
That's correct. January 31st, March 20th, and May 1st. They're all Wednesdays.
Thank you.
Okay, so all in favor? Opposed? I'm sorry, Councillor Burchett, your hand. Are you opposed or in favor?
In favor.
Thank you. So unanimous Pass. Regular council meeting schedule. That the council approves the 2024 regular council meeting schedule as presented. Noted that the July, August, and September meetings are varied from council procedural bylaw 416, 2025. Do I have a motion, please?
I'll move that.
I'll second that.
Discussion? As far as I'm concerned on the discussion part of this, I don't believe we should be having 2 meetings in December. From the amount of work that the staff have to do preparing and everything else, and especially the office staff in conversation. So I would like to have 1 meeting in December, like we used to have, and go take December 3rd and remove December 17th. So that's my recommendation. So I can do that as a friendly after this motion is passed or defeated. Any further discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Seeing none, carried. And the friendlies that we remove, we go down to 1 meeting in the month of December for December 3rd, 2024, and eliminate December 17th. Do I need a motion on that, please?
I'll move that.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Thank you. Discussion? All in favor? Opposed? 1 opposed. Motion is carried. Okay, CAO update, verbal, that council receive the CAO update, verbal report for information and discussion. CAO, we'll go to that first since there's.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I was just asked by Councillor Burchett to provide an update on 3 items. One is the snow salt removal plan. So the village has a snow removal policy or a snow control policy. I can't remember the exact wording. So that outlines our snow removal plan. That's in place, so nothing will deviate from that. And we also have our contract in place with the school district to provide snow clearing services of the school parking lot next door. The next item was an economic development position update, and there really is no update there. As I've reported to council previously, that particular initiative is presently on hold for a couple of different reasons. Including I'm speaking with colleagues at the SRD about, as I reported to council recently, about possibly doing some partnership work on economic development with the SRD. And I just have nothing new to report on that at this moment. And then the last item that Councillor Burchett asked to speak about was the in-camera video audio recordings policy and security protocols. So council may recall that back in July, we made a decision to begin recording our in-camera minutes, our in-camera meetings, pardon me. This was done from a perspective of, I think, accuracy. I reported to council that I had spoken with several other corporate officers, regional district and municipal alike, and there was varying degrees of opinion on recording in-camera minutes. I also spoke with the Office of the Information and Privacy Commissioner about that. And at that time, council resolved to proceed forward with recording in-camera minutes and to check back in after 4 months. And so now is the 4-month time. I'd be interested in receiving council's feedback about that. I guess the last thing maybe just the last point that I would highlight is that and I'm taking the wording from Councillor Burchett's email, security protocols. We have security protocols over our in-camera minutes. I'm the only person that can view those. And we don't have an issue with that. And I have reviewed all of our procedures with respect to in-camera minutes, recordings, etc., with the information, with the Office of the Information and Privacy Commissioner, and everything is fully compliant per their standards.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Burchett.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So what is the policy on destroying in-camera meeting footage? And yeah, what's the policy on that?
CAO.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So we don't have a policy on any of our recordings of in-camera minutes at this time. Really, all we're doing is we record the minutes. I'm the only person that has access to them. I download the minutes into a secure folder, and they're there for me to access for the purpose of checking minutes, checking minute taking, checking the minutes for the purpose of minute taking, and then as a follow-up, if there's any items that I need to circle back on for clarification. And admittedly, council will surely appreciate, because of some of the dealings we're involved in right now, the process of having the recordings has been incredibly beneficial for me.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Poston, and then back to Councillor Burchett.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. When this procedure was first initiated, and we did discuss having a bylaw for all the security and how it was stored, and many different things. And this is a governance issue, and the council is required to develop the bylaw with help from the CAO, but that hasn't happened. And I think it's imperative that we do establish a bylaw policy, because there has been incidents where the rules and availability have been added to and subtracted to when there is no policy, when there is no bylaw in place. So I would think that it is urgent for us to develop an in-camera policy and put that in place, and the sooner the better.
Anybody else? It's Councillor Burchett was next, and then CAO.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor. So I'd like to understand who makes the decisions on when tapes are destroyed or not destroyed, because we've already had an incident where camera footage has been deleted, and that hasn't been done by council resolution. So through the mayor to the CAO, can you please explain why that's happened? Because that's a security breach.
CAO.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Respectfully, I would suggest that if a video was accidentally deleted, that wouldn't be a security breach. That would be an accidental deletion. But that notwithstanding, I think what Councillor Paulson is suggesting is that perhaps, well, I think what Councillor Paulson is suggesting is not perhaps, but that the village should have a policy, not necessarily a bylaw, but a policy that helps administer the recordings of in-camera minutes. I couldn't argue with that. I would, however, say that it would fall down on my priority list at the moment, given other things that I have on my plate and that I'm behind on. For council's knowledge, right now, we record the meetings either that night, depending on the time of night, either that night or the next morning. I move them from that laptop onto our secure network. They go in a secure folder that only I have access to, and they are not touched unless I need to access them for minute-taking purposes or to answer a question from one of you or another staff member. Of course, we have reports from our approving officer that have happened in camera. He may ask me a question of clarification. I'll go back to the video. The one video that was deleted was an accident that happened, just simply pressing the wrong button, and it happened through Teams, which it didn't have the ability to recover. I didn't have the ability to recover it. So there's no breach or anything there. It was an accident. Notwithstanding, the concept of a policy would certainly be supported by staff. We as a village are missing many policies because of our challenge of time versus work. So nothing that we're doing right now is improper. There's nothing insecure. There's nothing unsafe. And again, I've vetted all of this through the Office of the Privacy Commissioner. I think the question is really, does council wish to continue? Well, two questions. Does council wish to continue recording the in-camera meeting minutes? And I'm hearing that Councillor Paulson is suggesting that a policy be formed. I'm just suggesting from my perspective, that would be something that I would encourage be worked on later versus sooner.
Okay, is it possible to have it a bylaw in place perhaps before June?
So a policy that we would develop, and quite frankly, I need just to look into it to see how in depth, like we always do. I'll start with canvassing some other communities, but I want to impress upon council that if security is what we're concerned about, there are no concerns right now. Like if you're driving towards wanting to have a policy and it's about security is not an issue right now. So
Okay.
I'd maybe just confirm with each other, is that the concern?
Thank you, Councillor Burchett.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Security is definitely paramount, and I don't believe that this was accidentally deleted information when it was explained to us that it wasn't an accident, that it was purposeful before. So through the
Okay.
mayor to the CAO,
Okay.
can you please explain
Point
what
of
was
order.
accidental and what was
Excuse me,
purposeful?
Councillor Burchett. You do not accuse the staff of
I'm just reminding
purposely.
staff of what was repeated to us in an earlier meeting, that it wasn't accidental. And that is a security breach,
okay.
and I want him to validate what the security is on these in-camera tapes.
He already stated exactly what the security is on these tapes. He only has access through and only through his password, a different password. It's secured. He already answered that, so we're moving on.
I believe that's grossly erroneous, that it was an accident, and that'll be provable at a
Councillor
later date.
Burchett. Councillor Burchett, your question has been answered.
No,
The
it hasn't.
staff has stated clearly they did not intentionally delete anything. So do you accuse the staff of doing that is completely inappropriate. So we're moving on.
Well, it's provable, so just wait
Excuse
for it.
me. I'm just debating how to respond to. Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I would just like to say that it's not just related to security, but it's also related to access and other things. So and that has proven to be very difficult in at least one case for me, and availability of staff to babysit the watcher is sometimes not adequate. So I would just like to.
And for Councillor Burchett, sorry, I thought you were done. Councillor Burchett, the point of order is unacceptable behavior. conduct must refrain from abusive conduct, intimidation, or demeaning behavior or verbal attacks upon character, professionalism, or motives of other. That is under unacceptable behavior, section 4. If you have the code of conduct in front of you, please take a moment to read it. If you like, we can take a short recess to give you that time. Councillor Burchett?
Yeah, I'd have it in front of me, but apparently I can't get things printed from the office, so sorry, I can't read that right now.
Thank you very much for your input. Okay, moving right along. CAO update. We did that, did we not?
Mr. Mayor, if I may, does council want to continue on with recording the in-camera meeting?
Yes. Rest of
Would
the
somebody like to make a motion?
Do we have a motion on recording in camera?
I will move that, yes.
Second? Do we have a second for recording in camera?
Oh, I'll make that second. Sorry, my microphone was off for a moment.
Discussion? Councillor Paulson?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. With all this, kind of lost my train of thought here, but at the time when we initiated the in-camera recordings, you stated that the SRD had an in-camera, recorded their in-camera meetings, and said that you would get a copy of their procedure and policy. So I did contact SRD and ask them for 3 of their bylaws or of their procedural procedures, and my response, or their response to me, was less than adequate. So I would like to know when we could expect to have a copy of their in-camera policy. And
From the information that I gathered, there was no in-camera policy. It's strictly an operational issue. And the operations takes care of that. So therefore, there's not a policy at the SRD on it. And it's not in the procedural bylaw as well. It's something that is administrated strictly by staff. And the board has no dealing with it at all. So Councillor Tinsley, and then Councillor Burchett, and then CAO.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Relative to the discussion on the motion here, which is to continue recording or not, from everything I can see, the reasons the recording was voted on by council to occur, nothing has changed on those, the reasons for that recording. And so I believe that there is no reason to stop, and that the recording should continue. And I believe that the reasons are the same as they were when it was voted on before. Thank you.
Councillor Burchett, then the CAO.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Clearly, the oversight of one over these documents and files and videos has been a failure. So there should be a friendly amendment to have a double oversight. We did have a corporate officer, but we no longer do. So the oversight of one isn't working for these accidental deletions, or what has been said as an accidental deletion. So increased security oversight of more than one person, so these errors or accidents don't happen again.
Okay, thank you, CAO.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. What I've heard is that council wishes to have the recordings of the in-camera meetings continue. Is there a period of time? Do you want to?
3 years. When's the end of the term? I understand that.
No, I'm just looking for clarification. Like, is there a period? So, okay, so that staff continue to record the in-camera meeting minutes until the end of council's term.
It's a motion that we have to put forth.
I know, I'm
Yes.
just putting together
Yes.
for you, right, until the end of council's term. And is there I'm hearing that staff that staff bring back a policy for council's consideration. You made a suggestion by the end of June.
Correct. So there's two motions there that we have to bring forth. Would you like to read the first one again, please, so we can have it put a motion on the floor?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. That staff continue to record the in-camera council meetings until the end of council's term, and that staff bring back an in-camera meeting recording policy by June 30, 2020 or 2024.
Do I have a motion on that, please?
I'll move that.
We have a second.
I will second that.
Discussion. All in, Councillor Burchett?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Like I clearly stated earlier, having single person oversight over this has been a failure so far. So
Point-
we need to have more oversight than a single person
Councillor
for this to
Burchett,
actually be effective.
point of order. As you know, we have a motion on the floor. You can do an amendment or friendly after we vote on this motion. As you
I
know,
was just
so
discussing this.
we're past the point of discussion.
You just said discussion.
We did it again and again and again. Is that all you wanted to add?
No, I will add a friendly after.
Okay, thank you. Okay, all in favor of the motion? Opposed? I'm sorry, Councillor Burchett, are you in favor or opposed?
Definitely opposed.
2 opposed, the motion is carried. Your amendment or your friendly, pardon me?
The friendly amendment is to not have single person oversight over the Village of Sayward's secure files and videos, because it's been a failure so far.
Has to throw it in just a sec. We're not there yet. Second? Your microphone, please.
I'll second that.
Discussion. CAO?
I'm trying to determine if I have the option to leave the meeting or not. This is entirely disrespectful behavior of staff, and it should not be tolerated.
Agreed. We already
So-
mentioned the code of conduct violation from Councillor Burchett. I realize it's ongoing and he's not letting that go. But we will deal with that at a later date. Councillor Paulson?
The only thing I'll add is that we always have, the office structure has always had double oversight, for lack of a better term. Right now, our office has myself as the administrator and the corporate officer. And I can assure council there's no issue with the security of the in-camera recordings.
Thank you. Councillor Paulson for the last word.
Thank you. I would like to suggest that we consider that friendly amendment when the policy is being developed. Thank
Okay.
you.
So all in favor of the friendly? I thought you just said you wanted to wait until the policy was created. Didn't you just say that? It was all in favor of Councillor Burchett's motion. Go ahead.
What is the motion, please?
Can you repeat the motion, please? Councillor Burchett?
The motion is that single person oversight is not the way to go. It has to be dual person oversight, whether it's CAO, corporate officer, or someone else. Single person oversight has been a failure so far.
Okay. You did not need to add the last portion of that. So again, as we talked about earlier, Councillor Burchett, Section 4, under unacceptable behavior, the code of conduct, council will refrain from abusive contact intimidation, and demeaning behavior or verbal attacks upon character, professionalism, or motives of others. CAO, you had a comment?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So the suggestion that we have double oversight over the files right now is not possible. So there is no issue right now with the security of I'm trying to appeal to council here that there is no issue with the security of the recordings. I've explained how the recordings are processed and where they exist. There's nobody else that has access to them other than myself. And a double oversight system wouldn't help in this situation.
Okay, thank you. So all in favor of Councillor Burchett's motion?
I still had something to say.
We're moving on. You're
Obviously,
repeating the same thing over and over again, and you're attacking staff. So
I'm not
afraid that
attacking
it's up-
staff. I'm
you
just
are.
stating the truth and the obvious.
Okay,
that we've
moving
had a
on.
failure
Continue.
in the
Can you
system.
mute him, please? CAO? One more outburst from you, Councillor Paulson, pardon me. I apologize. Councillor Burchett, one more outburst and you were muted and taken out of the meeting. Forewarned. So again, we only had one in favor and opposed. Are you opposed or in favor? You abstaining is in favor. Okay, so we have 3 in favor, or pardon me, opposed to the motion. It is defeated. Emergency Service, Public Works, Recreation, that the report, pardon me, recommended resolution that council receive the Kelsey Center October 23 staff report for information and discussion. Do we have a motion, please?
I'll move
I'll move
that.
that.
Second,
I'll second that.
do we have any discussion on that? I do. I mean, the report is good. The only problem is it doesn't have any numbers on it. It's showing me how many Valley residents, how many town site residents attend these programs, but we don't have any dollar amounts associated with that from year to date. So I request that we have that going forward.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I will look into this. I do recall having a conversation with staff about this a number of months ago, perhaps when I first came on with the village. And I loosely recall there a conversation about information and privacy and where people are coming from. Well, I understand what you're looking for. You're looking for dollars, but you're looking for where are they coming from, the valley or the village. Did I hear you? Did I misunderstand you?
Yeah, no, I see the village and the valley. The two things that I don't see here is one, a comparison to last year, right, to this year, to see if there's any increases. And also, I don't see a dollar amount, whether or not, what kind of dollars that these programs are bringing in. Yeah, no problem. So that's kind of thing I think is important. Does anybody disagree? Councillor Paulson?
I think that is clear when we see the budget and the monthly income from the recreation programs.
Okay. So do we need a motion on that? CAO? No? Okay, thank you. Okay, bylaws, none. New business, none. Public question period. The purpose of the public question period is to enable citizens to ask a question to council about issues that are important to the citizen asking the question. Speakers are asked to limit their questions to one each, and if time permits and everybody has an opportunity to ask a question, speakers may ask a second question. Citizens will be stating their name and address, please. questions have to be directed to council and then the CAO can answer. Thank you.
Mr. CEO, say that there's only one person that has a key to this computer, to these in-camera meetings that we're all excluded from, that we don't know what's going on. What if he dies? God forbid, don't, right?
Well, then we would get a computer tech to come in and access that system, which the CAO will answer. But however, right now, there's only 2 people in the office. So I'm not sure who else you would suggest.
He said, she said.
Well, if it's a he said, she said, then what we've talked about here in council before, then the CAO reviews the tape and states exactly what it was. And if necessary, hang on, if necessary, he can put it up on the screen for all of council to see. Then he'll put it up on the screen. Then it'd be put up on the screen. Not the entire, we wouldn't do the entire meeting, obviously, but the one section that is being referred to or that's in dispute, we would rectify that. From my understanding, yes, they do. They don't have, it's not weird. It's also for privacy. Okay.
Knowing what I know, which is nothing, right? Pretty much.
No, you know quite a bit.
I do. But I don't know your inner work.
Yeah, if necessary, if there was something I was disputing from an in camera, and I believe I heard it differently than what was presented, then I would request to see that tape. And I could go into the office, and so as every other counselor can go into the office and sit with the CAO. He can pull it up and I can review that. And if necessary.
With the CAO, look at it by yourself.
No, because I'm not that computer literate to where I don't want to make a mistake and hit the wrong thing, as we just discussed for a half hour. So council has the opportunity, and it has an opportunity to bring it back and put it on screen for all of council to see, not the public.
So, okay.
Okay. Okay, thank you. Anyone else? Mr. Turner.
Thank you. Alex Turner, 1727 Sayward Road. I'll try to make it a question. So given the following, why wouldn't the council move together in a prompt way about my suggestion? That makes it in the form of a question. So a few things I wanted to say about this. First is, I don't have a position on dissolution of the municipality. I think I've heard arguments on both sides, but what I've heard most strongly is a lot of opinion. Really, some very strongly expressed opinion, and of course, social media really exaggerates that. And I think the problem is that it's a lot of opinion and not enough information. So my suggestion is to try to bring information to the fore. So first off, it was not my intention to exclude the council from the process. I just thought myself, it would be, if we have a panel of outside experts, then the council, of course, will attend and participate in the process. But, mostly what they would want to have is information from outside sources so they can make a good decision. It's mentioned that, we need other people on the panel. I wouldn't be opposed to adding other people. I just tried to comb around and see who would be worthwhile. So Tom Yates at the regional district, he's very expert. Someone from municipal affairs, someone from a water improvement district, because if it was dissolution, you'd have to have a water improvement district. The village CEO, and I would add who else we could find to add to the panel. The idea is to have a panel present, then have breakouts for this discussion. The discussion is not for opinion, but to get more questions, more informed questions to ask the panel and the second time around the panel. And my thinking would be, at the end of that process, everybody would be better informed of the subject and, you know, maybe it'll be put to bed at that point to say, no, this is not the thing to do. Or maybe there will be some desire to go ahead, but I am willing to do the work to facilitate it. I think the cost will be minimal. They probably travel costs for outside people and I'm willing to facilitate for free.
Okay, thank you. It's Councillor Paulson.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I believe that we discussed and voted on that proposal from Mr. Turner, and I would suggest that if he would like to present to council, then he register for be a delegation. So thank you.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else? Sorry, you have to speak into the microphone. Sorry.
Both insulting and disingenuous. In
Excuse
that,
me, Mr. Mayor, this is appropriate when a person comes to the mic and talks about individual councillors.
They're not mentioning individual councillors. They said, and some councillors. So did no names were mentioned. Thank you. Continue.
We can't hear who's talking on the mic. Can they please speak up?
I turned it off. Sorry.
Can you hear you now?
Can you hear it now? Okay. Anyways, basically comments that inferred that in some fashion, the village administration or certain people in the village council were keeping quiet details of the Strathcona Gardens expansion, including the survey of all the communities other than Campbell River that were made other than Campbell River as to whether or not they wanted to participate in the expansion of the Strathcona Gardens. All communities outside of actual Campbell River were given an opportunity to survey, and there will be, as you pointed out, a vote on January 24th.
I believe in January.
Okay. This, generally speaking, if I want to know what somebody or some company or some organization is up to, I usually find that their website is moderately informative. Okay. So I checked the SRD, and there in large bold print was all of the information. Okay. Now this information was available to all members of the general public, including councilors. The implication that somehow this kind of thing is being hushed up or swept under the carpet or whatever is both disingenuous and insulting.
Anyone else?
Good evening, Jackie Lyons from 291 Ambleside Drive. This is possibly somewhat of a correction, but on number 12 -C, the regular council meeting presenting on voting on July, August, and September. When you were referring to it, Mr. Mayor, and the bylaw number and the year, you said year 225, when in fact it should have been year 215, according to what's written on the paper.
Are you sure?
Yeah. Well,
Yes. Okay, then we'll make that correction. No.
to comment on the comment that Councillor Paulson McDonald made earlier in the evening.
No, it's not a time. To me, if you want to question what a council person said, I would put that in the form of correspondence and get it added to the agenda. This is not the place for us to individual attack a council member. I mean, I understand. Did you put a correspondence in?
She just brought the topic up this evening.
Okay, sorry, CAO.
She brought it to
Oh, you got your hand
attention
up.
about a gallery member, which was happened. And I realized my husband's big enough and broad enough and can stand on his own 2 feet. But little does she know that due to medical reasons, he's wearing sunglasses. But, you know, even though she wields the seat behind council table, she has insecurities
Excuse me, the
that brought that to your attention.
Of order.
Okay,
So-
I will have that conversation with the counselor, but we're not going to have that conversation now.
Okay, do you still wish that I should bring it to the attention of council and?
Yes, I say you should write a letter to mayor and council, and then we will have that, we'll have that discussion.
I could do that.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. CAO?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just can you help me along this lines of what you referred to? I see 12C, that
What-
council approved the 2024 regular council meeting
And then
schedule.
they go further down. It says 2015.
Well, that's bylaw number 416-215. That's the
That-
bylaw
That's
number.
the bylaw number. I said,
225.
apparently I said 225.
Oh, okay.
So,
All right. I'll
yeah.
just write it as
Yeah.
written.
Okay,
Okay, thank you.
yeah, the tape will show something different, but I'm
Okay,
incorrect.
Thank you.
Okay. So. And now I have lost, so now we go to in camera. Recommended resolution that in accordance with section 92 of the community charter, this council meeting will be closed to the public at this time in order council may give consideration a matter of accordance with the following sections of the community charter. 90-1C, labor relations and other employee relations. 90-1E, the acquisition, disposition, or exploration of land improvements that the council disclose and a reasonable and expected harm to the interests of the municipality. Section 90-1F, law enforcement, the council consider disclosure reasonable and expect to harm the conduct and investigation under or enforcement of an enactment. 90-1G, litigation and potential litigation impacting the local government, and section 90-1I, that the receipt of advice in the section of the solicitor client privilege, including communication necessary for the purpose. Do I have a recommended resolution, please? He waved, but
I'll move
you're on
that.
mute. Thank you.
Yeah.
I'll second that.
Discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Counselor Paulson is opposed. Okay, it is carried. And we will go into adjournment. Do I have a motion to adjourn the regular council meeting?
I'll move that.
I'll second that.
Discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Seeing none, regular council meeting's over. We will reconvene at